I am not what I earn. I am what I assume about money. And until I change my assumption, no income will ever make me rich. In the next 11 minutes, you will discover the exact reason most people increase their income year after year and still cannot build lasting wealth. You will learn the assumption that quietly controls every dollar that enters your life, and you will leave with the practice to replace it. Stay with me. There is a rule the wealthy live by that almost nobody teaches in plain language. The rule is this: the size of your wealth is not determined by the size of your income. It is determined by the size of the identity that holds the income. A small identity will leak a large income. A large identity will compound a small one. This is not motivation. This is structure. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. Most people spend their entire working lives trying to solve a wealth problem with an income solution. They believe that if they could just earn more, the rest would resolve itself. They chase the raise. They chase the side hustle. They chase the new opportunity. And year after year, the income climbs and the wealth does not. Because the problem was never the income. The problem was always the identity holding it. Look around you. You know people who earn 3 times what they earned 10 years ago and still feel broke. You know people who earn modest salaries and somehow build lasting wealth quietly, without drama. The difference is not effort. The difference is not strategy. The difference is the silent assumption each one carries about who they are with money. If you assume, deep beneath your conscious thought, that you are someone who always struggles, your bank account will produce struggle. If you assume that money slips through your hands will release it. If you assume that wealthy people are different from you will protect yourself from becoming one of them. The assumption runs the show. The income simply feeds whatever the assumption already believes. This is why 2 people earning the same salary live 2 different financial lives. One assumes wealth. One assumes lack. The salary is identical. The outcome is structural. And no amount of financial education, no spreadsheet, no budget app, no new strategy will change the outcome until the assumption is named and replaced. The assumption is not a thought you choose. It is a thought that chose you, long before you understood what money was. It was installed in childhood by the way the adults around you spoke about money, by their tone when bills arrived, by the silence at the dinner table, by the small phrases repeated again and again. Money does not grow on trees. We cannot afford that. People like us do not. Each of those phrases was a brick, and together they built the identity you now carry into every financial decision of your adult life. I want you to think about a man who receives a sudden increase, a promotion, a bonus, a new client. The money lands in his account. For a moment, he feels different. For a moment, he believes the increase will change his life. And then, 3 months later, the money is gone. Not stolen, not lost. Spent in ways that look reasonable from the outside, but in truth, drained by an identity that could not hold what arrived. He bought things slightly above his comfort. He upgraded what did not need upgrading. He paid for appearances that solved nothing. And without ever deciding to do so, he returned himself to the exact financial level he had before the increase. Because that level matched his identity. The money came in, and the identity quietly pushed it back out, until the account showed the number it has always shown. Now think of another man, earning the same modest amount month after month, who quietly buys a piece of land. Then another. Then he saves until he can buy something else. He does not announce his moves. He does not perform his progress. He simply behaves like someone who is building, because internally, that is who he believes he is. And year after year, his wealth grows in silence, not because he earns more, because he holds more. The same dollar that flowed through the first man's hands stays in the second man's hands. Same money, different identity, different outcome. The first man earns more and stays broke. The second man earns less and becomes wealthy. The income is not the variable, the identity is. This pattern is older than modern finance. The Babylonians taught it. The early stewards of family fortunes lived by it. Every culture that built lasting prosperity discovered the same truth. Money is held by identity. Money flows according to assumption, and no amount of additional income will rescue a person whose internal definition of self cannot accommodate wealth. There is a phrase that captures this exactly. Money does not change you, money reveals you. When the income arrives, it does not transform the identity, it exposes it. The wealthy man stays wealthy because the money meets an identity that already knows how to hold it. The struggling man stays struggling because the money meets an identity that does not yet know how to receive without leaking. So here is what you do. You stop trying to fix your wealth at the level of income. You go upstream. You go to the assumption. Take a quiet moment today, alone. Ask yourself one honest question. When I imagine myself with $100,000 in my account that I did not earn this month, who am I in that scene? What does that version of me feel? What does he do? How does he behave? And then ask the harder question. Why does that version of me feel uncomfortable? Why does my body resist that picture? The discomfort is the assumption speaking. The resistance is the identity protecting itself from a level it does not yet recognize as its own. Listen to it. Name it. Write it down in one sentence. Something like, I am someone who always has just enough. Or, I am someone who is good with small amounts, but not large ones. Or, wealthy people are different from me. Whatever sentence rises, that is the assumption running your finances. Then write the replacement. Not a fantasy, a deliberate identity. I am someone who builds and holds. I am someone whose hands keep what they receive. I am someone who carries wealth without drama. The new sentence must feel slightly uncomfortable when you read it. If it feels comfortable, it is too small. If it feels impossible, it is too big. The right sentence stretches you without breaking you. And every morning, before you check your phone, before you do anything else, you read the new sentence aloud. You read it slowly. You feel the resistance. You read it again and again, until the resistance becomes familiar, until the assumption begins to bend. This is the practice. It takes 90 days for the new assumption to take root at the level where it shapes your decisions. 90 days of reading the sentence. 90 days of behaving as if it were already true. 90 days of returning to it when you forget. And at the end of those 90 days, your decisions about money will begin to change. Not because you tried harder, because the identity beneath the decisions changed. And once the identity changes, the income you already have will start to behave differently. The money will stay longer. The opportunities will look different. The decisions will feel different. Not because the world changed, because you changed. The same paycheck that used to disappear by the 15th will now last to the end of the month. The same opportunities you used to miss will now feel obvious. the same conversations about money will feel less heavy. This is how wealth is built by ordinary people, not by sudden income, by gradual identity. The income comes second. The identity comes first. And every wealthy person you have ever admired walked this exact path, even if they cannot describe it in the words I am using now. Your income will never make you rich. Your assumption will. Decide today which assumption you are going to feed. If this reached you, like this video, share it with someone who needs it, and subscribe. Drop a comment. Tell me what shifted. This is only the beginning. Restore self, build wealth, leave legacy.